Oh my God, it's the BFOD squad. Welcome back to the podcast, Barrel Full of Daryl, episode 39 right now. This is where I make an attempt to provide a good discussion on music, movies, and provide you with some other funky ass shit. Got to give a shout out to my new listeners in Australia. Thanks to my buddy Dustin and his wife Robin, I now have listeners on that continent. So welcome and jump in the barrel. And my sultry voice has now caressed the ears of listeners in all of the continents. So last week, I asked about the lyric, "We were the first band to vomit in the bar." And it's from a song, "Long Live Rock" by The Who. Yeah, good song. Apparently they were on stage during a show and the bathroom was too far from the stage and they were really drunk and they were going to the bar and throwing up. I do not doubt it. So here's a new lyric for you. Girls will be boys and boys will be girls. It's a mixed up, muddled up, shook up world. Classic song from the 70s. Just give you a little hint. So, let's start talking about music. Whenever I get asked throughout my life what is my favorite Beatles album, I'm really torn between the White Album and Abbey Road. So way back in episode 13, I discussed the White Album. So I need to give Abbey Road its due. So Abbey Road is the Beatles' 11th studio album, released in September 1969. It was the last album they recorded and the last time they were all together in the studio. So it was the prelude to the breakup of the Beatles. Matter of fact, John Lennon quit during the recording sessions, or immediately thereafter. So in episode 13, I mentioned that there was a lot of conflict among the band members, and well, that continues. That carries over into Abbey Road. For example, John Lennon wanted all his songs on one side and McCartney's on the other. Lennon also criticized some of McCartney's songs as granny music and not real songs. He's quite the butthole. And then there's the omnipresence of Yoko Ono. Yoko Ono. In June of that year, John and Yoko were in a car crash, and the doctor prescribed bed rest for Yoko. So John brought a bed into the studio so that she wouldn't miss anything. Sheesh. By the way, Alan Parsons worked as an assistant engineer during the making of this album. And he was, later on, he was the engineer on Pink Floyd's album, Dark Side of the Moon. And he also produced his own albums with the band Alan Parsons Project. Are you familiar with Alan Parsons Project? Well, my favorite album by them is titled Tales of Mystery and Imagination, in which Parsons adapts some of Edgar Allan Poe's writing to music, to songs. Great album. Very good album. Okay, the songs on Abbey Road. Side 1 starts with the classic song Come Together. Certainly you've heard this. Great song, immediately recognizable. And it was covered by Aerosmith, I guess sometime in the 80s. Next is the song Something, written by George Harrison. It's a beautiful ballad, and per McCartney, it's the best song that Harrison had ever written. They originally gave it to Joe Cocker, which appeared on his album Joe Cocker, but the Beatles also included it on Abbey Road as well. Now, thirdly is the song Maxwell Silver's Hammer. That's a McCartney song. It's a fun song. It's a little ditty about a guy who keeps bopping people on their head with his silver hammer. Lennon hated this song and refused to work on it with Mr. Butthole. Next is the song Oh Darling by McCartney, which is definitely a rock and roll song. And McCartney, in prepping for the recording, he sang it every day for a week to get his voice a little less crisp, a little more raspy. Lennon said that he should have sung it since it was more his style, Mr. Butthole. Then we have Octopus's Garden, a song written and performed by the drummer Ringo Starr. Now, the song structure was partly written by George Harrison, and the two later collaborated on Ringo's solo hits like It Don't Come Easy and Photograph. So side one finishes with the song I Want You, She's So Heavy by Lennon. And he wrote the song about his relationship with Yoko, of course. Now, it is a loud, long song, clocking in at nearly 8 minutes. And near the end, it's just a cacophony of sound that ends abruptly, which brings a jarring silence to the end of side one. So side two opens with the song Here Comes the Sun, another beautiful ballad written and performed by Harrison. Oh, I hope you're familiar with this one. It's really beautiful. Next is the song Because by Lennon. This is another amazing song. It features 3-part harmonies by Lennon, McCartney, and Harrison, which were triple tracked to give 9 vocals in the final mix. Yeah, it's really cool. It sounds great. Now, the remainder of side 2 is a 16-minute long medley of 8 tracks. Now, these are the songs in the medley: You Never Give Me Your Money, Sun King, Mean Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and The End. Each of these songs are very different styles, but the Beatles managed to transition them perfectly into each other. And to me, this is the best part of the album. Now, there is a hidden track at the end of side 2 called Her Majesty. Her Majesty. Now, this is a cute little 24-second song written and performed by McCartney while he was alone in the studio before all the other guys showed up. Now, McCartney had instructed the engineer that it be cut from the album, but the engineer had been instructed to not throw anything away. So it's thankfully on the album, and it cues up about 20 seconds. After 20 seconds of silence, that's a great way to end the album. Okay, a bit about the iconic album cover. Firstly, it does not show the band name or the album name. The designer of the cover, John Kosh, stated, "We don't need it. They're the most famous band in the world." And he's right. Now, the cover photograph shows the 4 Beatles walking across Abbey Road on a zebra crossing. They're in a line, equally spaced apart, with Lennon, then Starr, then McCartney, and then Harrison. They're all in suits except for Harrison. McCartney is barefoot and out of step with the others. He's also holding a cigarette in his right hand when he normally smokes with his left hand. I think it was a prop. And all of this led to the rumor that Paul was dead. In the photo, Lennon is dressed in white as a religious figure. Starr is dressed in black as the Undertaker. McCartney is the corpse, and Harrison, dressed in jeans, is the gravedigger. Very untrue. You all know that McCartney's still alive. I think it was one of their songs. They said something about Paul is dead, I am the walrus, something like that. But all of this amounted to invaluable publicity for the album. Now, this photo has been duplicated by many artists, most notably by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who did it nearly naked. As they once did in concerts, the only item of clothing they have on is a sock over their willies. And worldwide, this album has sold over 31 million copies. It was first panned by some critics, but it has become one of the best-selling albums of all time. Let's see, I owned it on vinyl, cassette, CD, and now electronically. I'm proud to be a part of the 31 million. So please give this album an entire listen if you can. If not, at least listen to side 2, especially the medley. As with most music, and especially this music, it's better to listen with headphones, unless you're driving, of course. Now, the Beatles are one of a kind and a once-in-a-lifetime band. So please check the playlist. And now, let's just roll tape. See, he released his first album titled Neil Young in 1968.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's been doing music for almost 60 years now.
Amazing.
But he is the grandfather of grunge, according to Eddie Vedder.
Is it because of what Eddie Vedder said, or is there another reason that he's considered the grandfather of
Neil has he has several albums which are heavy grunge sounding. He's just
distorted guitars,
just killing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no sweet ballad, it's just an album full of grunge type music.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was decades before alternative music came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that's where people like Eddie Vedder, Kurt Cobain kind of picked up on that.
Yeah.
And called it the grunge music.
Interesting.
I remember seeing Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam on stage with Neil Young.
Yeah.
Just rocking out. I think the song that they were playing was called Motherfucker.
Oh.
That's the actual name of the song.
Is that a Neil Young song?
It is. Yeah. I think it's...
before or after George Carlin?
After, I guess.
You can't say that shit on the radio either.
I think it was from his album Sleeps with Angels. It's kind of a tribute to Cobain.
Oh, wow. So it's full circle.
The title track was written in response to Kurt Cobain's suicide.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see what the songs are. No, Motherfucker's not on that one.
I wonder if they spent much time together. I've never seen them on stage together myself, but that is interesting that he wrote a tribute to Kurt Cobain, and Kurt Cobain probably was a tribute to Neil Young in a lot of ways.
It was a double LP with Crazy Horse.
Wow.
Produced by, don't worry about that, but yeah. And he would perform. Young would be dubbed the Godfather of Grunge by one music critic, and would perform "Rockin' in the Free World" with Pearl Jam at the 1993 MTV Video Music Awards. So maybe that's the association with Eddie Vedder.
Is there some overlap between "Rockin' in the Free World" and "Hey Hey My My"? Or is that some faulty brain connection I have? Other than being Neil Young, but the lyrics to "Hey Hey My My," "Rock and Roll Will Never Die," and this, where does the lyric "It's better to burn out than to fade away"?
That's from Rust Never Sleeps.
"Hey Hey My My,"
which is an album he did with Crazy Horse. And let me get to the tracks. Track listing. First song, My, Hey, Hey.
Oh, My My Hey Hey.
Out of the Blue.
Yeah.
And the last song is Hey, Hey, My.
Oh,
Reverse.
interesting.
The first one is ballad type.
Yeah.
And then the last one is hard rock.
Doesn't he do something similar with Harvest Moon? Or is there After the Harvest and the Harvest Moon? Is there a couple Harvest Moon songs?
Well, he's got the album Harvest, then he's got Harvest Moon.
Mm-hmm.
You mean Harvest Moon, right?
Yeah.
That's a good album.
It is.
It's quite country. Let me see.
It's cool how he's able to do so many different genres well. That's a really unique song for him.
Yeah, I don't see anything like a reprise in Harvest Moon.
Well, anyways, I think the previous question I was asking was a stray thread because of I think Kurt Cobain's suicide note said something like, better to burn out than to fade away.
It could be.
You look dubious of that, and now I'm dubious of it too. Kurt Cobain, I'll look it up.
So his backing band on Harvest Moon was the Stray Gators.
Never heard of them.
So on that album, Harvest Moon, let me finish this thought. Neil he does vocals, guitars, harmonica, banjo guitar, piano, pump organ, vibraphone. All on that album.
Wow. That's all him?
Him doing that.
Huh.
Yeah. What'd you find?
All right, so it says here, the full passage in Cobain's note containing the lyric reads, "Thank you all from the pit of my burning, nauseous stomach for your letters and concern during the past years. I'm too much of an erratic, moody baby. ! I don't have the passion anymore, and so don't remember. It's better to burn out than to fade away."
I'll be damned.
Pulls the trigger.
So that's where Neil got the line from.
I think that's where Kurt Cobain got the line from.
From Neil?
Yeah.
Oh.
The line, a quote from Neil Young, the line originates from Young's 1979 song, which was partly inspired by punk rock, and his observations on the fleeting nature of fame.
Yeah. Because he mentions Johnny Rotten.
Yes, that's right. This is the story of Johnny Rotten.
So yeah, you're right. Cobain's suicide note reflected the lyric.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Cobain's use of the lyric profoundly affected Neil Young, who later dedicated his album Sleeps with Angels to Kurt Cobain. Young expressed regret that he hadn't been able to get through to him.
Wow.
And that's interesting too, because I think the song "Needle and the Damage Done"
That was
is it off of that album?
No, that was way before.
Okay, because that's very pertinent. You know, that Neil Young would probably have a stance against suicide and against heroin, and those are things that Kurt obviously struggled with: depression, heroin.
I think that's on his "Tonight's the Night." Let me look.
Disagreement from John Lennon. In a 1980 interview, John Lennon voiced strong opposition to the sentiment. It doesn't say exactly the sentiment. I think it's the burnout to fade away sentiment. John Lennon calls it garbage. He favored surviving and aging with dignity, stating it's better to fade away like an old soldier than to burn out. Oh, wow. That's crazy that Lennon had a specific argument against that one line.
Yeah, Lennon was kind of a butthole.
Also interesting that Neil Young himself is fading away and not burning out, you know?
True. Good point.
And meanwhile, Lennon did the latter, in a manner of speaking.
Quite the reverse,
Yeah.
right?
Conspiracies. While widely accepted that Cobain wrote the note, some have alleged that the final portion, including the Young lyric and final farewell to his wife and daughter, was added later by someone else. Wonder who that could be. These claims have been repeatedly challenged, and the official police investigation concluded it was a suicide.
So Needle and the Damage Done was it was released in 1972. It was the flip side of the hit Old Man. It was recorded on his album Harvest, 1972.
Yeah.
And it basically laments him losing band members.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, he's probably seen his fair share.
Yeah. Yeah, the lyrics describe the effects of heroin addiction on musicians that Young knew, including his friend and Crazy Horse bandmate, Danny Whitten, who died of an overdose the same year the song was released. And now, a word from our sponsor. Oh, hello there. My name is Dickie Ray Parlay. I'm the local handyman here in Scratch Ankle, Alabama. Y'all been hearing from my son, Willie Ray, on this here podcast, talking about his Lightberry. You may have noticed he's a little dim in the light bulb department. But he set up this little library as a little home project. The problem is that some asshole has been driving by and throwing eggs at Willie Ray. Dag nabbit. Oh, Willie Ray, he thinks it's all in fun. He's been trying to catch them eggs. What a mess. My poor boy, he ain't got the sense to recall what the car looks like. I swear, his antenna doesn't pick up many stations. But if it's one of you listeners throwing them eggs, I kindly ask you to stop it. By the way, if you ever come to visit us here in Scratch Ankle and you have car issues, just give me a call. My number is 205 OICU 812. That's 205 OICU 812. Thank you. And we're back. Movie time. It's nearly Thanksgiving, so I think it's befitting that I discuss movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I can't imagine how many times I've watched this movie. Somewhere between 10 and 1000. I'm hoping you've at least heard of this movie, and I'm triple hoping that you've seen it. It's released in 1987, and it's a road trip comedy, produced, written, and directed by John Hughes, who's done the same for many of my favorite movies, including Uncle Buck. This one stars Steve Martin, and he's an uptight, prudish businessman. And John Candy is your typical average guy who happens to be a shower ring salesman. He schleps around with this huge locker throughout the film, and apparently it contains his supply of shower rings. So they're both on a business trip. They're in New York City 2 days before Thanksgiving, and they're flying home to Chicago in the evening. But a huge snowstorm has hit the Midwest, and they can't land in Chicago or any other nearby airport. So they end up landing in Wichita, Kansas. Now this starts their 3-day calamitous journey to make it home to Chicago before Thanksgiving Day. And yes, in this movie, there are planes, trains, and automobiles involved. I'll go ahead and give you a spoiler alert. They make it home just in time for Thanksgiving dinner. But all of the misadventures on this trip make for a super duper comedy film that should not be missed. So that's a very short synopsis. So let me add a bit about their relationship and their misadventures. As I said, Steve Martin plays businessman Neil Page, a smug and snobby man of few words. And John Candy plays the shower ring salesman, Del Griffith, who dresses like a lumberjack. He's loud, annoying, and a man of many words. So you can imagine how they clash. But when they landed in Wichita, there were very few vacancies in the motels, and they end up sharing a room together with one bed. Now, the motel room scenes are the best part of the movie. Basically, John Candy, he's a slob. He uses all the bathroom linens, leaves the floor soaking wet, puts his dirty underwear in the sink to soak. Then he drops a quarter into the vibrating bed, causing the 6-pack of beer sitting on the bed to explode on Steve Martin's side. They do end up kind of snuggling in the bed. It's a funny scene. The next day, they catch a train to Chicago, but it breaks down well short of there. They all have to get off the train and hoof it for about a mile, where the cars are waiting to take them to St. Louis Airport. When they arrive, there are no flights available, so they decide to go their separate ways, and each one of them wants to get a rental car. So when Steve Martin gets off the shuttle at the spot where his rental car is supposed to be, the spot is empty. Oh, he throws a fit here, and he hoofs it back to the airport, goes to the car rental counter, and speaks to the agent in a profanity-rich dialogue. He used the word fucking about 12 times in this rant. I want a fucking car, and I want it right fucking now. Meanwhile, John Candy has secured a car, and when leaving the airport, he sees Steve Martin standing on the curb waiting for a bus. So he stops and picks him up, and their misadventures continue. I'll stop here and say that every scene is a hoot and a half. In one scene, they're driving down the interstate. John Candy's driving. Steve Martin's asleep, and John starts getting very hot, so he tries pulling off his jacket while he's driving. His jackets have loops on the end of the sleeves, and they get caught around like the car seat lever and stuff. So he's basically trapped in his jacket, can't move his hands, and he's steering with his knees. And they accidentally take an exit, and he slams on the brake real hard. His arms come free, and he spins the car around before they get into a wreck. The problem is he goes back up that same exit he just came down, so they're going the wrong way on the interstate. And at one point, a couple in a car next to them have rolled down their windows and yelling, "You're going the wrong way! You're going the wrong way! You're going to kill somebody!" John Candy says, "Oh, that guy. How does he know where we're going?" That's one of my favorite quotes. Yeah. Well, the car ends up on fire as well because John Candy had flipped a cigarette butt in the back seat accidentally, and the car just gets burned up. It's unrecognizable, but it is drivable, and they continue on their journey in a burnt up car. So that's one of my favorite parts of the movie as well. Now, as usual, I have only scratched the surface of this film. There's a lot going on, and the interactions of Steve Martin and John Candy are what really makes this a great comedy. Hey, but why listen to me? Go see it for yourself. Word of the week. Ah. Let me spell that for you. AA. AA. Over my lifetime, I've probably done about, 6,000 crossword puzzles. And a long way back, there was this one that had the answer to the clue was AA or ah. And I thought they were just kind of fucking with me, but when I got the chance to look it up, is a type of lava. Is the Hawaiian word that means stony, rough lava. The other types are pahoho, black lava, and pillow lava. Cool, huh? Joke of the week. Maynard says to his friend Mongo, "I got the test results of my COVID test back, and it says 50, but I don't know what that means. I also got the results of my IQ test, and it says positive. I guess that's good." Question of the week. Question from last week was, do fake plants die if you don't pretend to water them? Well, it depends. If you have a fake cactus, you're all right. But if you have a fake fern, you're fucked. New question of the week. I'll throw you an easy one. How many prime numbers are there between 0 and 20? How many prime numbers are there between 0 and 20? And what constitutes a prime number? Okay, thought of the week. Great minds think alike, and so do ours. One of my favorites. Don't forget about the playlist. They're growing by the minute, I'm telling you. A lot of songs, a lot of good stuff on there. Well curated. Now, if you want to reach out to me, send me a comment, send me a request, send me some money. You can reach me. You can send me a text, the little text button on the episodes, or you can email me directly at bfodpodcast@gmail.com. Also, don't forget that if you're loving the show, can't live without it, there is an option to support the show. A little monthly gift, anywhere from $3 to $10. Wouldn't hurt to have it. I appreciate it. So thank you for listening, and I hope you were entertained. Talk to you next time. Bye.